Hello, this is JB. I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Today I'm going to talk about an interaction I had with my uncle many years ago. I believe it was 2005 or 2006, in which my uncle poked fun at me about studying political science. So I used to work for my uncle in the family's tile business that was started way back in the early 1950s. But one morning, while we were shoveling sand into the back of a truck, I told him that at night I was going to the community college and taking several classes per week. And he asked me what I was studying, and I told him that I was studying political science and history. And he said, "Oh, what do you want to be the president? You need to just learn how to get better at tile work." And he was kind of joking and kind of making fun of me. And I could partially understand why he did that because he didn't even have a high school education. He dropped out in ninth or 10th grade when he was encouraged by his principal to go home and never come back. Uh, and so I think he may have been kind of uncomfortable about other people having more education than him. But it bothered me because I thought he should and everybody else in my family should be proud that I was trying to get an education, especially when you consider that I was doing a very physically difficult job all day long. And I was working like 10, 12 hours a day. I was carrying these heavy buckets. I was really working hard. Uh, there aren't that many people in the world who can work as hard as I was working. I was working hard. And then I would go to class and study all night. And so he should have been like, wow, that's amazing. I really admire your hard work and your dedication and your desire to improve yourself. That's what he should have said, but he didn't say that. He made fun of me. And the reason I chose political science is because it's very broad. Um, like everything in life is politics. Politics is not everything in life, it's not the most important thing, but everything that happens in the world is political in some way. And when you study politics, you study everything. You study history, you study geography, you study psychology, you study communication, you study English, you study everything. Science, math, uh, anything you can think of is somehow involved in political science. So people that study political science become very well rounded. And I was always interested in politics from the time I was at least 6 years old, probably less. Um, and but I can remember definitely 6 years old. And I love politics, and I read the newspaper all the time. I studied it, read the encyclopedias. We used to have encyclopedias, which were these big ass books with all the world's knowledge in there. And now we have the internet. But so I'd read those and learn about the presidents and the government and different things like that, and other people who are involved in politics. And I just thought it was interesting because these people who are chosen in a democracy by the voters, they make these decisions that affect everyone's life. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting the interaction between politicians and the people. But so that's why I studied it, and I ended up benefiting from it tremendously because I have a very good understanding of my communities, my states that I lived in, my country, and the world. And studying political science has made me successful in many different ways. Um, as a I worked as a newspaper reporter. Worked as a union steward and a workers' rights advocate. Very involved in politics, about as high as you can go in state level politics without being elected to something. Because I've never run for office, but I've helped other people get elected. They can a few people can credit their careers to me. They won't, but they should. And so I've been very successful. And since I know about politics, I've been able to solve a lot of different problems um, in a lot of different ways throughout my life. And alongside that, I've always studied the law, not to memorize the law, but to understand how the law works. And I ended up finally, after 2020, I went back to school, got a bachelor's degree um, with a concentration in political science, and then I got a master's degree in legal studies, basically in the study of law. And this August, I'm going to law school. And my family's been in the United States since the early 1700s or maybe earlier. Um, and as far as I can tell, we haven't had any lawyers in the family. And there's a lot of people here that have been here, thousands and thousands of people. No lawyers, as far as I know. Um, and most of the people, they were farmers at first, and then they worked in um, small businesses and some for the government as teachers or clerical workers and stuff like that. And we've had a lot of construction workers, including me, and but never lawyers. And I'm very proud of the fact that I'm going to have the opportunity to become a lawyer. If I do well in law school and I graduate and I pass the bar exam, I'll get to become a lawyer. And that's a source of pride for me because it it's not easy to become a lawyer. You have to do very well, and it takes a lot of work. And I've worked hard for many, many years, and I'm going to work hard as long as I can work because that's just what I do. But like my uncle, he died in 2014. He got pancreatic cancer, and he died a pitiful, terrible death. And sorry that happened to him, but honestly, I wish he was here so I could say, hey, you remember back in 2004 when you made fun of me because I was studying political science? And hopefully, I wouldn't be like that, but I might. But I would want him to know that I made it, and that I've had success, and that it wasn't right for him to try to put me down for trying to succeed, because he had success. He had a lot of help too, because my grandfather started a company, and then he took the company over from my grandfather, and the people that worked for him made little money, so he could make a lot of money. So he definitely had help. He didn't ever realize that. He thought everything that he had was because of him, but that wasn't the case. But I did well on my own without the advantages that he had of owning a company and making a lot of money and everything like this. And I wish, and my life would have been a whole hell of a lot easier if he would have been more supportive of me from the beginning. And if he would have done what he said he was going to do when I was in high school, which is to make sure that I went to college by paying for it, he didn't ever do that. But my life would have been a lot easier because I would have graduated when I was younger, and maybe I would have gotten to go to law school when I was 22 instead of 39, and by now I would have a very comfortable life, and I would be thinking about the next couple of decades and the possibility of retiring at some point. But that didn't happen. But anyway, all I wanted to do in this video was talk about that interaction that I had with my uncle, and the fact that the way that he responded to me telling him that I was going to college and I was studying political science, it hurt me. But that despite the fact that I didn't like the way that he talked to me, and the way that he did not encourage me, but kind of put me down, I still made it. And so I guess the only thing I can say is that don't let what other people say affect you. I could have been like, oh, you're older than me, you have more experience, so you're right. Maybe I should just stop going to school. I didn't. I kept working towards my goal. I kept working towards what I wanted in my life, and I kept staying interested in things that I liked, which was history and political science and everything else that's related to that, geography. And doing that improved my life. So that's all I got to say about that. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Bye.